Hello there, Joe Star here. In today's video, what if White Army won the Russian Civil War? Was the question of its alternate history. It was the biggest fight of the Russian Revolution. By early 1917, the Central Powers between Germany and Austro-Hungary and Ottoman Empire and Soviet spoke to, they still keep fighting with the Russians instead through its own dirt and havoc on. Until Russian Civil War breaks out, it cannot be allowed to be seen, for it seemed familiar but it seemed to be unexpectable for the battle sizes. However, they can't be sure if they spoke to. However, the empires of Eton actually winning until Germany and Central Powers actually losing, and yet still wasn't familiar what it did having any other sizes of their cause. Still, that should never be whole like that is a new mystery. In this case, the Imperial Russians still keep evolving with their own legal weapons, however the havoc is the nest of their imagination. Of course, however, the various deceit that White Army will be victorious, and of course, Vladimir Lenin will actually be executed at age 53. By this case, that he will actually think that he will die on 3rd of November 1923. If he loses his revolution, that means that Red Army will be doomed out if it's nowhere placed to be called out. And I'm sure what it takes out to be last of its cause did it conducted pretty well. And then, oh man, oh god, the White Army has 1699 with 954 men died. Of course, Red Army actually lost everything of their own with 6075 with 333, as both killed or wounded in this action for this battle. While they've spoken to at this very similar, if that case to be one victory of the Russian Civil War to be look like, it seemed that what it will cause. And of course, however, the various biggest country in the world has Russian Empire if it's huge kind of a place. And until it decided to leave Poland for 30 seconds, and until there was a various convertible times to accept it towards the world eventual battlefield converted to our timeline, they convicted pretty well. And of course, about this very similar to its other sizes, cannot be restored as much to be pretty well. That was never seen as a convertible days and accepted while they have a continence until Poland becomes independent country from the Russian Empire when it decided to leave. In our timeline, that thing the Germans will invade Poland, and still what they kept to fight for it for the Poland it is spoke to, that Germany would be spoke to. Until then, the Russian will also could be available to their invasion of Poland too, if they will kept it on. Well, that's just the different what it seemed cannot be arrivable what it still have, that they would not be looked as a dangerous cause. Would it be unlikely? It's still what they should not be here for it is what they heading up was the cause, then thus never seen as a rivalry. And unfortunately the betrayal begins, and so what they conveyed to itself at once that well havoc on, that Germany decided to invade Russian Empire, achieving Operation Barbarossa / Christina, and this case cannot be spoken to while they did is their last spoken to, while they were unlikely to be seen as their last crucial day for its single having, until the role cast out. And so what they have on what they just did is their last crucial vengeance, and so for the havoc until fate. Eventually that didn't convict it pretty well for the Germans, instead of its own cannot be exploited. And even now what they have on what they just did throughout the world and have spoke to, what they seem to be believed. And almost 4 years later for this kind of a thing, until then the Battle of Berlin begins in 1945, and for a little bit that the war was over. In that case, Russian variable havoc, that the White Army will take over the Berlin once more. It's like our timeline would it take. And so with this battlefield can be sure, and that was a very deceit. And once again, the Adolf Hitler just very committed to himself until he commits suicide. And so in that case, it would not be happening, because they told everyone that Hitler is no more. And then, however, the various deceit by powerful imperial days of a Cold War between the United States of America and the Russian Empire, that will be one nuke alone without many. And so would be fair way to be spoke to like the rest of a power of the thing was actually did for the last of its cause. And everything what they shaped up to its spherical to its accepted and it spoke of it. And it's still what they have met it for the last of its landing for 4 years. Until then the various to see, as both British Empire and USA both became enemy of the Russian Empire instead. But that didn't talk pretty well for that what they did for the last of its case. Throughout the aftermath of the Cold War, the breakup of the Russian Empire would look like. Finland would leave Russian Empire. Through the Baltic lands between Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, 3 of them will leave the Russian Empire also. Through Belarus, Ukraine, and Moldavia will leave the Russian Empire once more. Throughout the next Central Asia, between Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan, 5 countries will leave Russian Empire. And the last one, between Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan, will leave the Russian Empire also. And Russia will become itself a republic country without becoming federation. In this case, our timeline will be fair way will take together everything what changes, and so what will go ahead and last for its true as a majority days. And so what will happen next as the lens has been far beyond. And until then, it will be soon as the quickest days to be last of their kind, then convict to do so. Until then, this is the end of this world of true history. And so, that's it today. Yeah guys, it's so familiar with the scene, but also about this very similar but we took that. And that was all folks. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. If you subscribe to my channel, you go back to next upload for the next we'll have for many weeks. If you haven't get some more, I'll keep it up for next days and that kind of a thing. It's been too long for how I failed to record multiple times now. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Jungstaria is out.